Brought to you by Penguin.
Imperial Island, A History of Empire in Modern Britain. Written and read by me, Charlotte Lydia Riley. Introduction. Empire's Shadows. A man with a trim moustache and neat side-parted hair, wearing a smart suit with a waistcoat and shiny striped tie, sits and smiles broadly at the camera. He is surrounded by a busy group, a few adults but mostly children, who range in age from babies and toddlers to perhaps 10 years old. The children are wearing party dresses, little suit jackets, long socks and fancy hats. Their faces have been scrubbed clean, their hair pushed into neat partings and pigtails. Some of the children have solemn expressions, some mischievous. Not all of them are looking at the photographer. Almost none of the people in the picture are white. The man at the centre of the picture is Kamal Chunchi, and the children are his guests at the Coloured Men's Institute in Canning Town. Born in Ceylon, now Sri Lanka, in 1886, Kamal had moved to London at the end of the First World War, arriving at the nearby Royal Docks, like many soldiers and sailors from the colonies, having served in the British Army. His ship had come from Malta, where he had been sent for convalescence after a bad injury, and where he had converted to Christianity. He arrived in an area that in the early 19th century had been mostly peaceful fields, but which today is the borough of Newham, a busy urban space containing some of the most overcrowded housing in the UK. This change dates back to the 1850s, when, in response to an increasingly chaotic trade environment on the Thames, first the Victoria and then the Albert Dock was constructed and opened. Slowly this area had become London's main docks. Once it was connected to the railways via Stratford and the arterial Barking Road, constructed in 1894, it became the heart of imperial trade. Here, warehouses and granaries were built to house the produce being brought into the country, while homes were built in Canning Town, Woolwich, Silvertown and the surrounding areas for the workers who handled this precious imperial cargo. Kamal was not the only former soldier to settle in the area when he did. In the decade after the war, the houses around Crown Street, Catherine Street, Cundy Street and Victoria Docks Road, where couples and families lived and loved across the colour line, became known as Draftboard Alley because the community was so unusually integrated. Kamal himself married a local white girl, Mabel Williams Tappan, with whom he had a daughter, and became a Methodist minister. Kamal and Mabel worked together to found the Docklands' first black Wesleyan Methodist church, and also the Coloured Men's Institute, which was based on Tidal Basin Road in Victoria Docks, and provided religious and social welfare support to sailors and local residents. This was a popular resource among the local community, although the Universal Negro Improvement Association East End branch was suspicious of Chunchi's religious tone, which they saw as patronising, and his attempts to, they believed, foster segregation by catering to black and Asian communities separately to white residents of the East End. The area continued to thrive economically, attracting workers to the manufacturing, shipping and pharmaceutical industries. In 1921, the final dock, George V, was built, and the area became known as the Royal Docks. By 1930, Newham, and specifically Canning Town, had the largest black population in London. This was not always a happy story of interracial harmony, however. The economic difficulties that the area experienced during the First World War and in the Depression of the late 1920s and 30s often led to racism against the black and Asian workers who were targeted by groups like the British Union of Fascists for stealing so-called British jobs. Local people of colour had to work hard to support themselves and one another. In 1930, the building in which the Coloured Men's Institute was housed was demolished as part of West Ham's municipal road widening scheme, and Kamal and his wife moved their work into a local Methodist church on Victoria Dock Road. Here, they fed breakfast to hungry children attending Sunday school, provided clothing and shoes to those who needed them, and organised excursions to the seaside, an annual Christmas meal, and a New Year's gift-giving party for needy families.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?